Okay, we're going live. Yeah. Live. 10 seconds. Uh-oh. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You're listening to KGPC 96.9 FM Oakland and streaming online at www.kgpc969.org. This is the Anything Can Happen show with your man, Cat Fitness and Kenya Asa. Oh, man, we're bringing the vibes today, y'all. We had to bring the vibes for the month of October. So we got a guest in the building. I would say he's Mr. Vibe. You know what I'm saying? Like, the vibe of Oakland right now.
Mr. Vibes.
Mr. Vibes? No, that's a t-shirt. We can't. That's a lot of responsibility.
But I got it.
Yeah, you got it. You can hold that space.
Yep.
Yeah, y'all. We got Ibrahim. Is that how you properly pronounce it?
Man, I appreciate you. Ibrahim.
Bruh.
Well, it's really Ibrahim.
Ibrahim. I can say Ibrahim.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's, man, the owner of Hella Positive in Oakland, y'all. Like, how did you even get into being hella positive?
Oh, man. That's a good place to start because I didn't even know what Hella Positive was for a really long time. I just knew that it was
I don't think none of us do.
Right. So how I got into being hella positive was really just by kind of studying positivity. Man, it honestly started with a bad breakup.
Wow.
Like every good story.
Yeah.
And
life changing, huh?
Yeah, like I was chilling. I was working at Safeway at the time. And we got some time, so I can actually go into things instead of like rushing through all my stories.
Yeah.
So here I was working at Safeway, and on my breaks, I broke up with homegirl. She was cool, but I took it really bad, and so I basically just kind of on my breaks, I would follow a bunch of positive quote accounts back on Twitter, back when Twitter was like kind of
like the thing.
Yeah. Like it wasn't so like intense now.
Was it anybody in particular that really like gravitated to you that you were like, man, I'm feeling those vibes? Like this dude is like helping me through this time in my life where I'm going through the breakup and he's just saying exactly what I need to hear like each and every day.
No, not at all.
No?
My homies at the time were not very good in relationships or giving me advice in our relationships. So no, I felt like I really had to kind of pull myself out of it. And the reason why I felt like that, I think, is because it was more internal. It wasn't so much that, I was taking advice from other people. I knew it was more of an internal struggle that I was working on. So I basically was just like, oh shit, like, my mind, I could tell like I wasn't absorbing the right things. And I basically just started following these accounts, and it's like, basic stuff.
Yeah.
And it's just like quotes from, people that have lived and experienced life in a variety of ways already. So like you can really learn from other people's experiences, or you should try to, because life isn't like long enough for you to learn every single lesson yourself. It's a gem. So yeah, I try to learn from other people, and like that was like kind of like what opened my mind. Like I've already been into positivity in certain like ways where it's like the law of attraction, like the way, like the movie, the book, The Secret, The Secret, that was big in like 2012 or whatever, but or even maybe before that. But I remember like I was chilling one day, playing video games, and my older brother, he came home and he like dropped a CD on the Xbox, and he's like, I don't know what this is. My professor just said like, watch this, and I was like, all right. And like it sat there for about like a week, and I think I just got bored playing video games one day, and I was like, "What is this?" And I popped it in, and it was The Secret. Yeah. And that blew my mind because I was like, "Cool, like what?
Yeah.
Like, just like, why would that, like, I was like, whoa. It was like a new concept for me. That was very
Exactly.
interesting.
It opened up a new chamber in the
Mhm.
brain and was like, let me see if this can actually work.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
exactly. And like, and that's where it started. And like, what I mean by that is like, that's where my research started, you know, and
Yeah.
then not that exact moment, but it was just like things
chain
started
of
to
events.
kind of guide me towards studying positivity and being into it in a certain way. And so I'm reading all these positive accounts, and like I kind of like notice like my brain is like I start to kind of like shift my thinking a little bit
Yeah.
about certain things, and so I started to kind of dive in, and like I don't even think like hell positive wasn't even in the picture at this time.
Okay.
And
And
so-
this is back in like 2012, 13?
Yeah, about 2012 probably.
Yeah.
Maybe even a little bit before that. But so yeah, I started studying it, and like I started like when I went off Twitter and got into the internet and like research, there was something called positive psychology, and I started looking into that, and I found out that it was like kind of a new area of study in the world. Well, not in the world, in Western culture, and it had just been accepted into the American Psychology Association in 2019 as like legitimate, you know, a legitimate area of study.
Yeah.
And so there were some people that were already like kind of working on the idea of like positivity and like what that actually meant.
You know what's so interesting, that it seems like, you know, the rest of the world does have like a head start on these concepts versus
Nothing's new under the sun.
yeah, it's nothing new under the sun, but yet and still it feels like they want to keep that kind of information away from us, or that kind of mindset away from us, because they know the power of the mind. And once you start vibrating on that kind of frequency, you know how powerful you truly are. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, yeah, and I think like our ancestors and people in ancient times, they knew that really well, because like that's pretty much what they had. You know,
Well, they didn't have any distraction.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Have, like the TV or cable or cars or
Yeah.
money, like in the way that we have money, and we let it kind of run everything. Like
yeah, they were
had
just
a
going
lot
off
of
their
time.
yeah, they were going off their sixth sense too. Like
Exactly.
when you got a feeling to do something, and you're like, man, what is this? Like, what is this calling me to do X, Y, and Z? Right? They didn't have anything else to do but that. Like, let me go explore this feeling. Let me go explore why I feel driven to go on this side of town, or go speak to this person, or do whatever, create this object that I've never seen before, but these ideas are coming to me. You know what I'm saying?
Especially like the elders. Like I think elders really played like a strong role in community, because they were the people like guiding the young minds. Like you know, like inevitably you're gonna face things in life as a young person, and as a human in general, but as a young person you're gonna face things. And I think that our society nowadays doesn't have a good connection of elders trying to help the young people, and it's neither side's fault. I think it's more society and just how everything's built right now. But I know back in the day, like elders were the people that you go to when you like have trouble. You know what I'm saying? You go to somebody that's older than you, more life experience, stuff like that. And so that's actually a really big part of like hella positive too. Like what I'm working on is like creating a space for elders and having them be present when young people come in.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So they can give them some of the game.
Yeah, and it's like it's this the world that we're growing up in now is incredibly confusing, and it can be very like nuanced, but also there's certain things that are just like clear and direct.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just like you have this like balance of like things that feel obvious, but sometimes don't come across very obvious, and then there's things that feel very complicated, and they kind of get simplified in a way that doesn't give them their like full like value of expression. You know, like let's see what's like a good example of that. I'm not really sure, but it just feels like things are kind of off balance in that way, where it's like the young people are guessing a lot at a lot of this stuff, whereas like the elders, like I think they want to help, but it's just the way everything's structured right now is it's super hard to be like Like, how do you get in front of a room full of kids that you know need guidance as like an elder? Like, where's the platform?
Yeah, and
That's not the internet.
man, and it has a lot to go with like the program, right?
Right.
Like how our elders were programmed to be like 9 to 5 workers and all these things that, as they were growing up, they thought was success. And now, since we have more information, the younger generation are looking at the elders and are like, nah, that's not the way. Like, we don't need to be working 40 plus hours a week. We need, more relaxed time. We need to spend more time with our family. We need to be, what I'm saying? But they never experienced that.
Yeah.
So it's hard to kind of like lead this generation that sees all the things, I wouldn't say mistakes, but like things that didn't work out for their generation, and kind of like we want to better ourselves by seeing those things. Like, like, man, you know, like my own personal experience is like looking at the elders and saying like, man, like eating and not exercising and not doing self-care got you to that point. I don't want to be there.
Mhm.
So you can't really tell me how to be healthy, you know what I'm saying? Like when I go to my elder, because you didn't have a chance to experience that due to your circumstances.
Yeah, and no one was like, hey, like, this is the healthy, maybe no one just told them.
Exactly. They didn't have time. They were
And
so busy doing
raising their kids,
exactly,
like paying rent,
yeah,
getting money. That's the thing about our generation is we have all of this information, but I feel like sometimes we don't really know what to do with all of it. Like we can make personal decisions, like it's like, but yeah, now we have all this information. It's like, yeah, like exercise, eating healthy, drinking lots of water, getting some sunshine, taking care of yourself. These weren't like messages that our parents got. It was just like, go to work.
Yeah, go to work. Pay the bills.
Buy a house.
Exactly.
But now we live in such a different environment. Like even if we did go to work, pay the bills, 9 to 5, we're still can't afford in the Bay Area at least like a good standard, like the standard of living. It's very expensive out here. But like, like they had just different opportunities. So we're not only are we trying to figure out what our opportunities are, we're also trying to maintain a sense of ourselves in a world that's changing so fucking fast.
Exactly.
Excuse my language. Sorry.
We'll edit that out later.
Sorry, children.
So, as you were going through this, your own personal journey when it came to, changing your mindset, coming across The Secret, when did you know like this stuff works? Like, how long did it take you to actually like, man, it's something to this? Like,
right.
Like, was it a feeling? Was it like something that you experienced that allowed you to be like, man, let me pour a little bit more into this?
Yeah. So I think it's like, so there's kind of like a couple conversations going on in that question.
Yeah.
There's like me personally, there's hella positive, and then like how it all relates and how it affects people around me.
Yeah.
It definitely didn't like The Secret was like cool, but they don't really tell you too much. They just kind of leave it in like a fantastical way that doesn't give you a lot
mystical, mysterious kind of,
and not even like in a it scratches the surface, and so you really have to continue on the research. You know what I'm saying? And there's certain parts of it that's like, there's other parts that's like, okay, like that's what they meant, and I didn't interpret it originally the right way. So I had to do some work. In terms of like positivity and like when it started to change my mindset, it took a long time because like the mind isn't like a static thing. You know what I'm saying? It's just I don't wake up every day and like think the same things.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of hard to gauge like, oh, is my mind actually changing? The way that I gauge it is how I handle certain things, like certain challenges. Because I can look back on myself like a year ago and be like, how would you have handled this a year ago? And how would you handle it now? And I think that part is like the part that I gauge you off of.
Yeah. Seeing the growth. Yeah. Miss Kenya Asa just got to the studio, y'all.
I've been here.
Just been quiet for the last 15 minutes.
Yes. I try to be quiet sometimes.
Hi.
I've been listening on live.
So when you got to that point when you started to be like, okay, this is how I was last year. You know what I'm saying? Like when these things start to present itself and I start to experience like certain things, and like that's how the old me would react to this, but the new me feels totally different, right? I feel like to approach this with the cup is half full instead of half empty. More of a positive outlook on certain things.
Yeah.
Or maybe even a lesson. Looking at the lessons that we're presenting to you.
Yeah, no, the lessons were huge. I think that's like the biggest thing about this year, honestly, is I took the growth over everything.
Mm.
You know, I took like the money was tight all year.
Yeah.
I struggled the entire year. But I still managed to give out like 50 free meals every other Tuesday.
Yeah.
All summer.
And that's how I actually heard about Hella Positive. Was we have a mutual friend, Nard, that actually I was at. Huh? Yeah. I was like, what do you got going on today? You know, we had a random conversation and everything. He was like, oh man, I'm about to go to Hella Positive and pass out some meals, and he's doing amazing things in the community. I said, what's this again? He said, Hella Positive. He said, I got to get you guys connected. So I was like, yeah, get us connected. So he showed me your guys' like IG page and everything. And I was like, okay, I like this kind of energy. Yeah. So that's how, and that was probably like earlier this year. Yeah. You know, like probably around like February, January, that, you know, I got introduced to your brand and everything that you're doing online. And I was like, man, if this guy is going out in the community, feeding people, you know, it's some substance there, you know.
Yeah. And shout out to Enrique and Hope Collaborative and Nicole from Recompass, because I couldn't do that without them.
Yeah. How did that whole idea even, you know, come to fruition?
So I think that like I wanted to make sure that that I held true to my own values, honestly. I've always been giving out food at the shop before I did that. I tell all my food vendors that they have to provide a community plate if they want to set up with me. So
okay, kind of setting that standard.
Yeah, you got to feed at least one person outside, and it's really up to you. You can feed a couple people, that'd be tight. And a lot of food vendors are super down. Everyone's been super down and cool about that. So yeah, I appreciate that, but it's really just like, I think that, you know, in the business world and in life and everything, you don't really have a lot of opportunities to show people your heart. And I think if you have an opportunity to show people your heart, especially the position I'm in, like I'm a white guy in West Oakland building a brand. Like I know where I'm at, like locally, but also like in the universe, respectfully.
Yeah.
And so like I want to make sure that people know that my intentions aren't just to go make a bunch of money off of some streetwear and then like dip out. It's like, no, like I believe in business in a different way. I don't believe that businesses should leave their communities hanging while they're making, you know, millions of dollars. And we saw that in tech in San Francisco. Like we watched all the money in the world flow through San Francisco. That's you.
And there are people sleeping on the streets, you know what I'm saying? Hungry and it's like how does that even work?
Sleeping on the streets, but also let me just say this, working in tech, having no place to live, although working in San Francisco, and even you could find on like Craigslist for rentals and stuff, vans on the street parked as you know,
parked
just
in front of some rich guy's house.
Absolutely. And then living in other people's backyards in a tent with a hose, and yet here you are working in tech in San Francisco, you know, allegedly living the dream. It's like,
and you really gotta look at that as like a society. It's like, yo, something's not working. Like this company is making a ton of money. Like the entire city shouldn't like start to suffer, and then everybody
we should be flourishing.
And then everyone left. So it's like, oh, mushrooms. You know, it's like, oh, like, well, now it's up to who? Like the government? So now it just, the responsibility kind of falls on us as people. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, okay, like, now what? Like, we don't have, like, and so that's kind of like, where did the food thing come from? It's just like, you know what? Like, I know somebody that does, like, community meals. And I know they have funding for it through a community organization. I know I can collect clothing donations because I did that last year. That's what I was doing. I was collecting in the year before that. I was collecting clothing donations, warm clothing donations, and so I just kind of built off that, honestly. And like I started. Another answer to one of your questions earlier is like, when did positivity start to work? It hella positive started to work when I got put in a position to just do what I felt like was right.
Mm.
And like, and I don't want to like hype myself up, but I like that's what I've been doing. Like I've been collecting warm clothes. Like you can go around, like you can go to 7th Street in West Oakland and ask like has hella positive ever like given you a warm jacket?
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? And people like I'll never forget this dude. It's like it's really interesting because you don't know everyone's story, but if you just look at everyone like, oh, that's a homeless person, then you'll miss so much about humanity.
Exactly.
Because there's people out there that aren't homeless necessarily, or
they just had a bad situation that happened to them.
Yeah, it's just like someone could have helped you so long ago, and you could have been in a much better place by now, but it just there hasn't been adequate enough effort to really put people in position to win. So
it's been the same thing with like the movement with our Heal the Hood events, right? Prior to even doing Heal the Hood in 2020 or creating Heal the Hood, me and my family were going out there, passing out meals, passing out clothes with friends and family out in the community, just doing whatever we could, right? And then, like you said, we would be talking to people and just getting to know them. And then somebody be like, oh, man. He's like, man, what happened? They'd be like, oh, I was living with my mother and she passed away and we lost the house. And now I have to live out my car right now until, I get back on my feet. Like, it was a lot of people in those kind of situations. One paycheck away from,
without a pension.
Yeah.
For real. And also, too, I lived in Oakland for a lot of my 20s and 30s, I think. And, I used to hand out hot chocolate to like the ladies that worked on the street in the middle of the night.
I bet they were super appreciative of that.
Yeah, because
so juicy.
It was funny because my boyfriend and I at the time lived in West Oakland. And he had a motorcycle. Shout out to my ex-boyfriend, Bruno. He had a motorcycle and we would drive by them on our way home. And I'd see these women in these tiny little clothes and it was cold, and I'd be like, they look like they could use some hot chocolate, or some coffee or something like that. And the interesting thing is exactly what you were just saying is that, first of all, we live in the Bay Area. It was much more affordable back when I'm talking about. This was in the early 90s, right? I had a really nice apartment that was like $400 a month in Piedmont. Okay, so it's very different than it is now. And most people are literally just on the edge of, they had been working and they got fired or like you said, somebody lost a home or they got kicked out or something happened. And it's not always drugs or alcohol and stuff like that, which is the narrative. And
it also can be mental health too.
Very much so.
People that are out there, suffering from mental health
very
issues,
much so. And also I saw a documentary recently on YouTube about homelessness in Oakland, and I can't remember the name of it, but I used to be a social worker, right? And so I knew some of the things that they were talking about, which is that everybody has this idea that everybody homeless is a drug addict. And that's like this crazy narrative that everybody is there. Maybe they deserve to be there because they made bad choices, and stuff like that. And I've made bad choices in my life, but I don't deserve to be living on the street. Nobody does. Not in the richest country in the world. We have
the 4th largest economy in the world.
It's insanity. It's insanity. But of course, that 1% has everything they need. Yeah.
And one thing that I really took away from what you were saying earlier is that you were living the things that you wanted to see in the community. You know what I'm saying? Like that was the change. That was the hella positive movement. It was like, okay, I see these things. Maybe I'm wrong how I interpreted it, but it was like I see these things. I'm just gonna start doing, and then things start to manifest around you based on just embracing the things that you knew needed to be done.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, people will support you. Like that's the thing. Like if you go out and you're like, yo, I'm gonna go do this, and then you go out and do it, and then you come back and you're like, oh, look, I did this. I need help with that. Someone's gonna come through and help you. Like,
Exactly.
it might be one person. They might just like plug you with like some info or a resource that really helps, or they might show up and fold some clothes for you. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? For your community service event, and like that's I think that's what it is. Is like I have an incredible opportunity to lead in the way that I feel is right, and it is empathy first. You know,
Yeah.
you rode by a bunch of young ladies working their job, and you're like, you know, it's cold outside. I think they'd like some hot chocolate. Whereas other people might drive by and pass judgment after judgment after judgment, and that just shuts down all humanity. You know what I'm saying? And so a lot of what I really have been focusing on and thinking about lately is just like treating people like they're humans.
What a concept.
I know.
What a concept.
And it sounds like crazy to say out loud, but like that's the heart of colonialization is dehumanization. It's convincing. It's trying to convince other people that other people aren't human like them, and it's so devious and wrong. And our country is kind of built off that concept. So
100%.
when you see like people suffering all around, and you're like, why is there no help? Well, it's because we've been taught that these people don't deserve it, or they're not up to par as and none of that is true. It's like these people need help.
Do you think it's a struggle for that mindset to be held on by some people who still feel like that, like people who believe that that are very racist, or people who, you know, pass judgment on poor people, you know, whatever. Do you think that as the world is going now, because we've come a long way and now it just feels kind of like we're going backwards again, that those people, it's a struggle for them to hang on to that nonsense? Or do you think it's so deep that it's a deep rooted belief that we're better than these people?
Yeah, I think that sometimes it might be the second one, like, no, it's like, and they have decided that.
Yeah.
And once a human makes a decision, they keep thinking it, their thoughts become beliefs.
Yeah.
What is it? What thoughts become habits become beliefs.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And then you're reinforced by the nonsense around you, the people that have shored up that belief in you, or the people that put that in you to begin with.
Society loves that, right?
Yes.
They love validating their own belief system, and it's like, you guys will pull information from every corner of the earth just to justify like you being a mean person.
Yeah, they always have that. That's always that is it's so sad that this country, that is the culture.
Yeah, I think so
the
too.
overall culture
it's
in this country. 100%.
It is, because I think that I think we do like neuroplasticity. Like that's kind of another thing about positivity, like where I mentioned the science of it, is because it all starts to merge. But like neuroplasticity says that we can change our minds.
Yeah.
As we get older, it gets a little bit harder, but we can change your mind. And there's also things that you can take to help open your brain up, you know, a little bit. You know, to new
there
ideas.
are a few things that you can take to open up your brain.
So on one level, do I think that a lot of people are really stuck in that?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, but I think it's a lot of people that are older and
kind of set in their ways.
Yeah, set in their ways, and also had an expectation of the way the world is going to go. I think a lot of people, as a white man, I think I'm allowed to say this, but I think a lot of older white men and people are confused because when they were younger, they were told that the world was going to be a certain way. And for the white man, the world was he was told that the world was built for him. And that as he develops in the world, everything is going to basically like work for him.
Right.
And now but that's not reality. You know what I'm saying? There's
Isn't
a bunch
it?
of people out
Isn't
here.
it though? Isn't that reality for the white man in America?
Right. So that's the issue with that is they're fighting with like to keep their beliefs alive right now. But you have this younger generation, and not even my generation, but you talk to like the 10, 12 years olds right now, they look at us, they're like, you guys do not know a single thing about what's going on.
Oh my gosh, so true.
Give them 10 years, they'll probably have it all figured out.
Right.
Well, but for me right now, it's like, okay, I can identify this and I need to be aware of it because people are really fighting to hold on to that idea. And it's just like, dude, let go of these ideas. The world is going to change with or without you.
Right. Well, and that's, I think very strongly that's probably around your age group of people that kind of have that thought process. Even a lot of older Black people feel like, well, things have always been like this, and this is the way it's supposed to be. You know, even my grandmother, who is gone now, but is from Alabama originally, and she used to say, well, we didn't have any problems with racism when I was growing up, and she grew up in like the 20s or whatever, 20s and 30s. She said we didn't have any problems because we knew our place as coloreds. We knew our place, and so we got along. Everybody got along.
Right.
And she's like, it's just when people want to cause all kinds of problems and they want to do things that other people that they're not welcome there. Why you got to go there if you're not welcome there? It's like this,
maintaining the status quo.
Yeah, she was like, we just wanted to live in peace,
Right.
And it's interesting. It's interesting dynamic.
Yeah, I hear you on that. That is, and so like, and that's like kind of the other side of it. It's just like, no, we don't want to shake things up because these white men are really angry.
And they're crazy and they don't care about your life at all.
Exactly.
Back in those days in particular, they knew better. They knew how to stay alive.
Exactly.
My grandmother and my grandfather lived to their 90s for a reason.
Right. And
Yeah.
so colonialism,
Yeah.
dehumanization,
Yeah.
like to allow that and to see that still being allowed today in our society is like, you're right. Like we have all this information, all this data, but how much will we actually move forward?
Right. Right.
So,
and they really young people, like my kid is 14 and even like I've got
hey, mom out here, you got a teenager?
I sure do, man. And I've got a teenager and a whole bunch of adult godchildren.
Oh yeah.
And
Mama life.
yeah, for real. And the younger people, the 20s and younger, and in the they are just like you guys were saying before I walked in the room because I was listening in my car. The stuff about working, I talked to a young girl. She was maybe 23 recently, and she was like, "I'm not good." She's like, every time I think about getting a job or every time I have a job for a minute, somebody talks to me some kind of way and I get triggered, and I'm not going to have people talk to me like that. And I'm like, don't you need to eat?
Yeah.
Like when I was young, back in like the 90s or whatever,
Yeah.
I was like, I'd do anything for a paycheck, but young people, I don't know if it's a matter of being more in touch with their feelings and their emotions and being less tolerant of abuse and nonsense that you would get in some of these jobs. They are not going to be abused, honey.
Y'all
they
see
will
that?
not.
Y'all see Kenya fired up right now, y'all.
Okay.
But we have to take
for real because we put up with a lot of
Yeah.
stuff working just because we're like, oh, we need this paycheck.
Yeah.
Right.
We're going to take a quick music break, and then we're going to get right back to this conversation, okay? You're listening to KGPC 96.9 FM Oakland and streaming online at www.kgpc969.org. This is the Anything Can Happen show.
Nice.
Ooh.
Glad it's the Anything Can Happen show because there might be a lot of old white men now.
What'd you say?
I said I'm glad it's the Anything Can Happen show because there might be a bunch of
Anything
old white men mad right now. What do you mean the country's not warming?
Oh my god. Okay, like
We're going down
I've
hella
had-
positive. He's in West Oakland.
Yeah, I've had these conversations with white men too, like because they'll open up to me and be like, I'm so confused and YouTube hasn't shown me anything. I'm like, well, first of all, get off YouTube and start talking to people.
Wow, yeah. Have actual conversations.
Yeah, like this is like I live out in Concord, so I've had like
Mhm.
multiple Concord because like I'm real friendly and stuff.
Right,
like,
right.
which is more fun in Oakland, honestly. But
Right.
and so like in my roommate's like a 53-year-old white man. I'm just like,
You
My
see the
roommate is a
programming.
52-year-old white man.
how is he though? Is he
It's my husband.
Yeah, he can stay.
I'll keep him for a minute. Oh my gosh. Yeah, from San Francisco too. So
Okay.
grew up in just a different,
Right.
like,
Time
you
period and
know,
stuff. Kind of hippie or
no, not at all.
Really?
Very, oh my God, he's like the opposite. Like we are polar opposites. I'm from Berkeley, you know, and just grew up super hippie-ish and whatever. And he's, you know, he's like totally like conservative white guy from the city with money. You know, all this stuff. But just a cool person, or else I would marry him. But yeah.
Right.
But it's definitely interesting. Some of the surrounding folks that his family.
Right. And business is really weird. Like when you start getting into like business, it's like, wait, this is your business personality.
Mhm.
How are you outside?
Exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's
What are your
That's
morals
a
and
little-
values outside of this?
yeah,
Yeah.
and that's why you know you got the world, and then you have all the money, and then you have all the CEOs making all the money, and then you're like, well, you guys know anything? And they're just
We
like,
got 15
profits are up, guys.
Yeah, we got 10 seconds, y'all.
Got you. Beagle Shepherd.
I was gonna say it's kind of like a beetle, and my shepherd just passed away on Sunday. My shepherd just. So now I'm just like, hi, honey.
Yeah.
You're listening to KGPC 96.9 FM Oakland and streaming online at www.kgpc969.org. This is the Anything Can Happen show with Kenya Asa and your man Cat Fitness. And today we just feeling hella positive out here in the building, y'all. Abrahim. Did I say it right this time?
Ibrahim.
Ibrahim.
Yep.
Abraham
Okay.
from Hella Positive Owner. Man, the first half of this conversation has gotten real deep, y'all, and we're just gonna expand on it this second half because like being positive is a lifestyle. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
It's something that
It's a
you
choice.
embrace. Yeah, it's a choice that you have to make each and every day. And people, I think like, okay, if I'm just being hella positive, everything's going to be positive in my life. And that's not necessarily true. You know what I'm saying? You're going to still embrace the ups and downs of life, but how are you going to react to them when they
Yeah.
present themselves?
Yeah, everyone's got challenges. Like for me, like my biggest challenge, recent memory, like I got the shop. I put my deposit down on 1606 7th Street in August of 2019, which was about a month and a half after my lung collapsed,
Wow.
which was 10 days after one of my someone that I looked at, kind of like a stepdad, passed away. So I had like these really crazy like sequence of events happen.
And this is right at the pandemic.
This is 2019, so
Yeah.
6 months before, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe 9.
Right.
So I'm having all this stuff. Like life was okay, but I remember writing in one of my notebooks like I want my body back because I wasn't like treating myself very well. I have like a really bad habit to put everything before me,
Mm-hmm.
and I can work really hard, so I can work myself into like the ground.
Mm-hmm. Are you sure you're not a black woman?
I love black women.
Thank you.
No, thank you. I appreciate it. I don't think I am, but I definitely love and admire black women because they always speak life into me. So I appreciate that. And so I basically worked myself into the ground, and my lung collapsed. And so I took like a month off. That was really terrible. But like in a mysterious chain of events, like I did this pop up at this. It was a vintage store before, so I did a pop up there in May, earlier in the month of May, and then my lung collapsed like May 29th, and then I booked a show downtown, or I mean at Jack London with Johnny Five from Turf Inc. And when I got to that event after my lung class, I'd been going through it. I got a text like, "Hey, I'm moving out of the shop. Like, would you like to talk to the landlord and try and book it?" And I was just like, "Yeah." But also, I was like, just fresh off of a medical injury. I had no money, but I had a lot of homies that I knew. And so I asked a few of my friends, and I was like, "This is how much it is to put the money down, and then this is, this is what I'm trying to do." And I borrowed some money from some homies and got the shop. And then like that first 2 weeks is like, "Well, what are you doing right now? You just got an entire storefront, bro. Like, you don't know what you're doing. You've never done anything like this before."
Yeah.
And so I was sitting in there just like kind of lost and wondering what I was doing, but just kind of following my own intuition and taking the opportunity. And like I had gotten some advice once before before I took this like really big job that I ended up taking there. And the dude, I was just sitting there at the bar with him, and he's like, "What are you afraid of?" And I was like, "I don't know." He's like, "Are you afraid that's going to change your life?" And I was like, "Maybe." And he's like, "Well, then go take the job, bro. It's going to change your life, and that's a good thing."
Yeah. Face your fear.
Yeah. And so that was
Yeah.
kind of like what the shop felt like. And man, I had so much empathy for who I was at that time, because that was so courageous of me to do when I also kind of like dumb. Like you had I didn't really have a plan. You know what I'm saying?
Courage and dumb, I think, are riding the line.
Yeah.
I really do. I think they're two sides of the same coin.
Right.
I really do, because
But
you
great
really
things
have
come
to.
from that.
That's
you know
what I'm
I'm
saying.
Well,
Absolutely.
If you're successful, then you're courageous. But if you fail, you're
I think failure is courageous.
Yeah.
Being willing to fail and being willing to just keep moving forward after failure is the most courageous thing you can do.
Thank you.
So what made you like shops in West Oakland, right? What made you choose West Oakland? Like, you could have went to Concord, you could have went to San Ramon, you could have went to any of these other places and started your brand, but you opened up in the middle of West Oakland. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, honestly, like at that time, like I had already been doing a lot of promotion in Oakland in general. Like I moved into Oakland. I lived in North Oakland for a few years. I lived in East Oakland for a couple years. Shout out to Heather and shout out to Nug Life. And the reception in Oakland was unlike anywhere I've ever like. I kind of, when I started Hella Positive, I was like the first 6 years of research and discovery.
yeah,
Like I didn't make that decision, but that's how I just treated it, because I was like, what is Hella Positive?
yeah,
And that's literally the question that would always go through my mind. And I knew I had something unique when I was walking down the city, Market Street, and I had the only Hella Positive hoodie in existence, because it was just so early on. And someone yelled out that car, "Hella Positive." And that caught me so off guard.
Wow.
yeah.
And I was just like, and I was shook. I was like, I questioned if it even happened. I was like, did that really just happen? And then the next time I was like, no one's yelling out the car talking about Gucci.
Yeah.
You know, talking about
Word.
Louis Vuitton. you know, so-
Word. Okay.
And so I was like, all right, bet. It's
Yeah.
more than just a clothing line.
Right.
And so when I first got to Oakland, the field next door to the shop was where a lot of my friends were doing shows. They're doing hyphy punk shows. And shout out to Wara Bikaza. And they were doing hyphy punk shows, and they were already organized as young people. That's what's so incredible about Oakland, is they're so organized, and people are really about stuff out here. So Oakland was really the only place I felt like Hella Positive could really be successful. And she might get into stuff, but
She just walked in. Felicia just walked in.
oh, okay, sorry. I'm one of the anxious dog owners. Like,
Right. Yeah. Same.
um, and so West Oakland, like we did this field, and I remember being there like with Mama, and just being like in my head, like I'm going to be here one day. Like I'm going to put a sign on the side of that building, and like whatever. And so I just was always drawn to that specific like area.
So you just felt it inside of you, like
Yeah.
this is home base.
And Oakland showed me hell of love. Like I had never gone anywhere where people were like, oh, that's like where they like really took it serious what I was about, because they had something serious going on. You know, I was like, okay, well, I know my homie Nug Life has a show tonight. I might not got like, you know, I might not, you know, got the door fee, might not be able to spend a lot of money, but I got a pocket full of stickers and I know how to work. So I'm gonna carry everything inside or try to help out, make myself useful, get in the door and just hand out as many stickers as I possibly could. And like just doing that, like linked with the right people, like honestly Nug Life and a whole bunch of other people, and a lot of people were just like super cool about support. And so we've just been all over the Bay trying to push hella positive. And then like I got the shop, and then the pandemic hit, and that was like a whole, that's like chapter 2. Like that was a whole different situation. Like I thought I knew what I was doing. Boy, did that just like make me reevaluate my entire existence. And talk about like challenges. Like I moved into the space 420 weekend because the pandemic had just wiped everything out. Like everything was gone. Like no events, we couldn't do anything. And I was surviving off events at the time, pop-ups, like a whole bunch of stuff. So everything's gone. It's like, what do you do? It's like you've worked so hard for so long, you have your dream right here in front of you. Like, do you let it go and stay in the attic of your homie's house, or like do you risk it all and just see what happens? And so I took that risk and I moved in and I stayed in there for 3 months. And honestly, there was parts that were really hard, like not being able to chill ever when you know everyone was just kind of chilling at the time, and just being so high in stress and anxiety. And then the peacefulness of it all, because no one was outside. I would just hop on my bike some mornings and go down to Orbit Coffee and get like a mocha and just ride around and just look at graffiti and like buildings. And like I was just like, well, you know, you got to make the best of it in those situations. So
and I think that's one mindset about that time period in our lives. And I
when the world shut down.
Because so much growth was able to happen during that period.
You couldn't do nothing but look within yourself. You know? Well, you could have binge watched on Netflix.
Well, I did that too. I did that. Listen, Netflix. Oh God, that's where the 20 pounds came from. Okay. We
see. I missed all these trends.
Crazy.
People were like, "Yeah, we made all sorts of bread." And
oh my God,
like, bro.
We made 4 loaves of bread one day, and I waddled over to the store because we ran out of butter. And I was like, I can't run out of butter today.
Not today.
We have 4 loaves of bread to eat in here. But yeah, I mean, I think that even there's the personal growth and the way that we had to learn about ourselves that we had never had the time to do before. But also remember, like, even the rivers and the streams and the canals and things like the fish and the wildlife and everything were living, and the waters were clearer. I mean, it's just insane how when humans are forced out of the picture that the earth thrives. You know,
it's real funny too.
I agree.
So
nature is returning.
Oh man, thriving. But back in 2015, as I was making my transition out of corporate America, right, I got 3 weeks off of work due to a chain of events that was like just divine timing, right? Because I was going from corporate America to going into opening up my personal training business, right? And when I asked for, like, at that time, same thing. It's like, I don't have time to, fully invest into my business, this and that. And that time appeared. I'm like, damn, I just have time now. What can I create, right? And I think that was a lot of opportunity for those people that felt like they were stuck. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
Dope.
when you
Me,
feel like you're
for
stuck,
sure.
yeah, you're stuck at your
For
job and
sure.
you don't have time to do anything because of all these circumstances. And then we had all this time for you
Yeah.
to just be like reevaluate life.
Yeah.
Is this what I really
It's
want to
so
do?
much
Can I do?
tie-dye.
So great.
Oh
I
man,
tie-dyed
Yeah.
so much when I
Yeah.
was living in the shop, and that was so cool for me.
yeah. At that time, it was the same thing. My business was, I was in West Oakland too. I was off of 34th and Adeline training
Yeah.
my clients at the Ultimate Sports Academy,
Yeah.
and it shut down. Right? And in that time, I was like, I can just let it go and say, like, that was the end of that dream. Or I can figure out this new chapter. Like, how do I continue to have this grow, even in this time that, you know, everybody's like, what are we going to do? So Zoom classes
Right.
Yeah.
became available, and I started doing online training and just continued the momentum.
That's
Yeah.
right.
You know what I'm
And
saying? I
that's-
didn't let it die.
I taught yoga at the same place.
Yeah.
And it was exactly the same thing because I had retired before the pandemic from my regular job, and thank God. And so you think to yourself, well, what can I do here? You know, and there were so many people that struggled so hard, which is 100% understandable because we were all scared for our lives and everything like that, and scared for the lives of our elders and things like that, and just scared of the unknown. And so then there's a certain thing that happens in your brain where you think to yourself, well, I have to do something,
Mhm.
Yeah.
even if that something is baking bread, but I have to do something.
Do
Like,
something
what can
constructive.
I do? Like, I started doing like Zoom happy hours with my girlfriends because we're like, we can't go out for cocktails. What
Yeah.
are we gonna do?
Yeah.
You know,
Making
and
noise of-
so we would literally get cute. Like, I would like
Yes.
get all cute, get all dressed up, make like a signature cocktail, and just be in my room. on
Getting
Zoom.
turned with the homies on Zoom. But you had to do that because, like, that was the thing. Is like the human connection was
Yeah.
suffering so bad,
Mhm.
and we felt it so much. And then on the other side of it, it felt like it was still suffering as everyone came out of the pandemic. It's like,
Yeah.
oh wait, we just adjusted. Now how
Yeah.
do we go back out? I remember talking to
Yeah.
people about like social
Yeah.
anxiety.
Do I
know?
shake a person's hand? Can I hug you?
Isolation.
Can I,
Yeah.
like,
And it's like, dude, I don't want to believe that the person standing next to me is close enough to just kill me on the,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like, wow, this is bad for my mind. Like,
Right.
every single person out here is not about to kill me, for one.
Right.
And two, like, I need a hug. Like,
Right.
I would, you know, you could, man, if I got to get sick, then I'm going to get sick. But I
Right.
would, like, I watched my mom graduate with her PhD from the corner of the living room during the pandemic.
Wow.
And I just wanted to give her, like, the biggest hug.
Amazing.
Yeah, it was
Go ahead,
beautiful.
Mom.
Yeah, shout out to my mom.
That's dope.
She's a full-time teacher now at the doctorate level for Sophia University, part online, part.
Nice.
Yeah,
That is so cool.
She's crushing it.
Yeah, I traveled to Europe during that. When was that? That was 2 years ago,
I
right?
think
Was
that was
it
2021?
2021? I guess. Yeah.
Around that time.
For 7 weeks, you know, and
Sounds
I
like fun.
and it was great, and it was me and my husband, my kid, and my goddaughter. Shout out to my god baby Kaylee, I love you. And we were there for a wedding in Portugal, and then we traveled all over the place, and there was a lot of anxiety and a lot of things, and also all the testing and the this and the that. There was so much of that, and you had to have little passes every time you got tested, and it was a lot of work.
Yeah.
But it was also a really amazing experience, especially for the kids. You know, it was like an amazing experience. But there is that behind the scenes like anxiety where you have to force yourself out of it.
Mm-hmm.
You're either going to do this or not.
Yep.
Like, we were either going to stay home or we were just going to go and throw caution to the wind and just hope for the best. And we were all vaccinated and blah, 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 blah. We just did the best we could, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So where do you see hella positive moving forward? You know, because a lot has happened since you guys started, you know, opening up the shop, going through a pandemic, and keeping a positive outlook through that time. You know what I'm saying? To make sure that you guys stayed afloat. Like, where are you guys moving on from here?
Well, Well, I think about this all the time, because a lot of my energy is spent at the space, but I also want to like push the brand outside of the Bay
Yeah.
and California
Mhm.
and the United States. So um, on one hand, like I love being there all the time, and so I don't want to give that up because then I can be on the front lines of my own movement, which is really important for me. Like
Yeah.
I have to be there.
Yeah. Yeah.
But on the other hand, I want to go like experience the world and also like do some stuff for myself a little bit. Like
Yeah.
maybe go on vacation one day.
Yeah.
And like I've put hella positive before myself so much that on one side it created like this dynamic that it forced me to grow, and so in that way, like I think that's like the biggest benefit right now. Like I said earlier, like I took the growth over everything this year,
Mhm.
and it was like what I was able to accomplish was like tremendous for me personally. Like it's just like I think back on it, and like and even when I explain to people like what I'm doing, people are just like you're
Mhm.
doing all that, and it's just like yeah, and I'm about to bring more stuff online. So like I really want to do like a kids event. Like I really 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 want to show the youth that like people are paying attention to them. You know what I'm saying? Like it could be as easy as acknowledging these young people.
Wow.
You're
to
gonna
get
my
them-
outlet.
Wow.
yeah, give them an outlet, get
Yeah.
them like what they need. It could be that simple because
Yeah.
there's been circumstances like in the shop at night, and because I've been doing it the whole time, like I have some information.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? On how to reach people, how to treat people,
Mhm.
and how to like move things forward. So I know like because like the youth, they stop by the shop, they knock on the door,
Mhm.
and they're just like, "You got any wristbands?"
Wow.
And I'm like, I gave away a lot of wristbands, but I ran out. And they're like, "You got any wristbands?" I'm like, "Nah, I don't." "You got a hoodie or anything?" And it's just like, "No, but I should. I should have everything for you right now."
Mhm.
Because this
Mhm.
might be like the only thing other than your like what you like and your hobbies and stuff that is giving you like an outlet. I got one
Right.
homie that comes by all the time and just like I just need a break from what's going on outside, bro. Like,
Wow.
I'm just in here.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
And so I'm just like
It's a safe space.
exactly.
That's really nice.
And I've been thinking about this in my head a lot. Safe spaces turn to sacred places.
Oh yes.
You know?
Oh yes.
And so like in right next door there's Tony Coleman. Shout out to Tony Coleman. We had a block party on Sunday for the bike shop and One Fam Bikes for Life. And he ran One Fam and Bikes for Life. And this dude is a legend in the way that he operated in the community, because I talked to kids that he influenced that are grown now.
Mhm.
They're like, nah, he helped me.
Yeah.
You know, he I got in trouble and I could go do my community service at the bike shop next door and learn how to fix a bike and
Mhm.
build a bike at the same time. And that was a safe place for kids.
Right,
you know?
right.
And the way that kids, the adults that were the youth at the time,
Yeah.
now talk about it, that is sacred to them.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's an important part of their life.
Mhm. Mhm.
So if I can just create like just some type of like feeling where it's like, oh no, like someone cared. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I went
I
to
learned
Hella
how to tie dye. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
I went to Hella Positive. I learned how to tie dye.
Right.
I went to Hella Positive and I just ate some good food.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like,
And that's something that they'll never forget,
exactly.
like ever.
Yeah,
you know,
because you
yeah.
can leave like an impression on the youth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people are kind of like Tupac said, like, what do you say, like, don't be afraid of the youth, the truth looks strange or something like that.
Mm.
I misquoted it hella bad, but it's that quote where he's like, yeah, bro, like this is like this is the youth.
Right.
It's not up to you to judge them because
Right.
they're dealing with a different world.
Yeah.
As an adult, the best thing you could do is provide a little guidance, acknowledge them,
Yeah.
which I believe is just one of the biggest things we could do. Just say what's up.
Yeah.
Just say hi to the young homies,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like they're not out here trying to fuck with people. Excuse my language. I'm sorry. They're not out here like on nothing like negative like that.
Right. Well, and also they're isolated
Mhm.
enough. A lot of young people these days, they're isolated behind their screens.
Mhm.
They're in video games. They're
Well,
A
some
lot of them, yeah, like yeah, some of them, yeah, and then some of them, a lot of them were really, really, really negatively affected by the pandemic
Mhm.
because those were very formative, important years,
Yeah.
you know.
That too.
Yeah. And just expanding on that real quick before we get out of here, it's like when you do that, when you do those small things in life that people take for granted sometimes,
Mhm.
like you said, they're huge for that person in their development, and then later on they pay that forward when they
Yeah.
have an opportunity
sure.
to do it for
Okay,
somebody else.
yeah.
They'll be like, man, when I was going over at Hella Positive, he was giving me the wristbands, he was doing that. And then when they have a chance to like pass that down to somebody else, they
Yeah.
pass down that positive energy that you set.
That's
You know what I'm
right.
saying?
I mean,
That's
that's
right.
full circle to Nard and how I'm here right now.
Yeah.
He's been pulling up on me a couple times, like, yo, bro, like he hits me before. He's like, I need a bag of wristbands. I'm on the move.
Yeah, I'm on the grind right
And I
now.
try and get him, and he comes through, and I think his mom's come through a couple times and got like a T-shirt and stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like, but real quick, I worry about the kids that don't have screens right now. You know, I worry
Tell
about
me
the
what
kid,
that means. What do you mean?
like, not everyone's got a PlayStation 4 that can connect to the internet at home.
Oh, sure.
You know what I'm saying? Not everyone's got like the perfect screened phone. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Not
Yeah.
everyone is. Some kids aren't so involved in their phone because they just don't have that as an opportunity.
Right.
And so they're very involved in a world that
Yeah.
is,
Not necessarily great.
yeah, and I just want to make sure that we're not forgetting about the youth.
Yeah.
We're letting them know that positivity is something that's achievable for them.
Mhm.
Positive mindsets, positive experiences, feeling good, love, joy. Like that's what Telepositive's all about. And like there's a pathway to that
Mhm.
that I think we can contextualize and implement and through like the community that
Right.
will actually help people like come together and
Right.
maybe work on like these feelings that we feel
Right.
like when when we think about the world.
Yeah.
So we only got a couple minutes left, and I just want to make sure that all our followers out there, are able to find you, know about any upcoming events, websites, all that. Can you leave us with that information real quick?
Yeah. First of all, thank you for having me on the show.
Nah, thank you for
Heck
coming
of-
through.
Thank you for coming.
I heck of appreciate it. So you can find us at hellapositive.com, Instagram at hellapositive, TikTok at hellapositive. You can find us at 1606 7th Street, Oakland, California. Stop by on like a weekend or, just come through, check out the space. It's an art gallery too. We got a bunch of new art on the walls. I put up like 8 new artists this weekend.
Oh, that's dope.
Nice.
So we have that, and then we have like community events. Come through and volunteer for our community service event every other Tuesday, 1 to 3. Come hand out some food with me and hand out some clothes and some other resources. And then we also, any veterans out there that are looking for community, we do a veterans event every first Thursday of the month, 4 to 7. And we'd love to have you come through.
Now, do you take clothing donations?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm focused on like more warm clothing and like blankets and stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
But,
Good to know. Good to know.
And that goes really well, actually. We put up like 3 tables worth of clothes, and I just invite people in to come grab whatever they need.
Yeah.
Give them some food and some other stuff that I can gather from the community. The community is really dope about supporting me.
Cool.
People love it.
Yeah.
People are so grateful, and
Mhm.
it's everybody. It's
Mhm.
anybody.
It's a vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love it.
So, man, as you heard, just add a little bit of positivity into your life. It's okay to be hella positive each and every day. Thank you once again for coming through the building. You're tuned in to the Anything Can Happen show. You're listening to KGPC 96.9 FM Oakland and streaming online at www.kgpc969.org. Catch us every Thursday at noon. You can follow us on ach.show on IG, and we'll see you next time.
Peace. Thank you, everybody. Hey, Tammy. Thanks, everybody.
Oh,
All right.
before we
Talk to you guys
I think
soon.
somebody
Thanks
else
for
coming into the
watching.
studio.
Yeah.
But before you get out of here, can you do a drop for us?
Yeah.
Just
Did you do a music break?
Yeah.
You did?
yeah.
Where was I?
You went into the back real quick or
Oh.
something. Yeah. So, have you ever done a drop before?
No, talk to me about it.
Okay. Drop, real simple. Just saying your name, your business, and you're tuned in to the Anything Can Happen
Yeah.
show.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
You got this. You got this.
And the cool thing is, you got more than one try.
As many tries as you need.
Got you. We live.
She gonna give us the thumbs up for
She'll
the
give you the old countdown.
for the drop.
I'm strong in my head, can't get it out.
Oh, yeah.
You ready or you want to do a dry run?
We can do it. Let's
Yeah.
just
He got it the first time.
Yo, check it out.
All right, I'm gonna count you down. 3, 2, 1.
Yo, this is Ibrahim of Hella Positive, and you're listening to the Anything Can Happen show. Did I do that right? All right, let me try that again because I wanted to be kind of corny.
Don't you want to talk about? So I think we should do this.
Yeah. You tell me.
This is Ibrahim.
Yeah.
From
Yeah.
This is Ibrahim. I'm the CEO of Hella Positive,
Yeah.
or you can say Oakland's Hella Positive.
Oh yeah.
And then I'm on the Anything Can Happen show, and today we're talking about
being
Everything
positive or whatever.
hella
Yeah.
positive.
being
Yeah,
positive.
being hella
Being
positive.
hella positive.
All right.
Okay.
Yep. Just slow it down. Just be natural.
You ready?
Yep. Now,
All right, we're gonna go. 3, 2, 1.
how's it going, everybody? This
Oh.
is.
I gotta hit the record button.
Oh, sorry, he
see?
counted me. All right.
Ah.
Look at Donna Summers. She's looking.
I know. I
Come on.
love that.
All right, 3, 2, 1.
How's it going, everybody? This is Ibrahim of Hella Positive, the Hella Positive movement, and you're listening to the Anything Can Happen show. We're talking about how to stay hella positive and positivity and, just regular life.
Boom.
Oh,
I love that. That was really good.
That was
Cool.
good.
That was really good. I love it.
Thank you. I got to work on my drops. I'm going to practice.
That's
those.
amazing. That was lovely.
The first of many.
Yes.
Yes. I'm
what's
tagging
up,
you in
bro.
my little
Yeah.
video.
Yeah, we're gonna tag you on this. Oh man.
So
it's
yeah,
warm
so,
in
I
here
mean,
today.
oh my God, I thought I was going to flip
I
and
was
die.
like,
I was-
there's no AC.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
She's taking us out today.
I almost texted Alicia to bring me the fan, but I forgot.
We need air in the studio.
I was like, is this mascara waterproof? I don't know. Is it gonna drip all over my brand new white t-shirt?
I'm not crying. I'm just sweating.
Oh my God.
It's normal if you feel like you're gonna pass out in the studio.
Yeah.
Oh, kinda. I thought I was gonna die. That's okay.
Yeah, we're trying to regulate the temperatures. You know what happens in California? We have microclimates, right?
Right.
So
Yes.
sometimes it's cold. It gets cold, and we're sitting in here freezing,
Yep.
and then it's just way too hot, and it's way too hot.
Yes, the heat wave today.
It's been a heat wave for a minute.
I gotta slide through the shot. Yeah, it's so funny how the universe brings people together. Man.
It's sick. I appreciate you staying tapped in with me too, like inviting me on the show and letting me come through for
Oh, whoopsie.
Yeah,
first Friday. That was big.
yeah, because Nard, we were crossing paths, and I was just like I said, I was just chopping it up. I'm like, bro, what you got going on today? You look, man, I'm living with my boy over at Hella Positive. I was like,
Oh my
What's that?
God, sorry.
Like, man, you cook,
Yeah.
passing out meals in the community and doing hella dope shit. And I was like, yeah, that sounds right up my alley. He's like, yeah, follow up on IG.
Mm-hmm.
So I started following y'all, and I was like, okay. And then telling you, when the person backed out of the Heal the Hood event, you were like one of the first people that just like, let me see what they got going on. See if they can slide through.
That's
You
cool.
just,
I
yeah,
appreciate
man, you just never know. I was like, First of
What's your
many connections.
hashtag? Is it hella positive
Yeah.
movement?
Just hella positive.
Hella positive.
Mhm.
Hella positive.
Man. So I know we didn't get into like too much of because you say you were born in Boston and you
Yeah.
kind of grew up. What part of the Bay Area did you grow up in?
Like I lived in Pleasant Hill for like since I was like 7
That's
to
funny. I worked out there.
like, I think I was like probably like 11,
Uh-huh.
and then I just started moving around a lot.
I worked right off of Monument,
Mhm.
right over there by what's that shopping center right there, right by the freeway. They got that big ass store.
Like the Willows Center, or
It's literally like right before you get on the freeway right there, shopping center. I used to work at the corporate AT&T store right there
Okay.
for like 3 years.
yeah, got you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Monument.
yeah. I grew up out there. It was cool. It was cool. We got a lot of energy from like Pittsburgh and stuff like that. We got a lot of energy from Oakland,
Yeah.
especially when I was younger. But it was cool. I had a good time. I was kind of wild when I was young.
Yeah,
I was very wild when I was young. So
Mhm.
it was cool though. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I lived in Martinez. I lived in Pacheco.
Oh,
I lived-
okay.
Spent a summer in Pittsburgh. I
Yeah.
spent 2 years in Petaluma.
Oh
A
man,
year in the city. Like 6 years in Oakland.
all over.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Been all over the Bay. The only
Yeah.
place I've never lived is South Bay, but I've never even go to the South Bay.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's one place. Like I was born in Berkeley, lived in Oakland when I was little, lived in Richmond, lived in San Pablo. We just continued to
Yeah.
move that way. Like
Yeah,
at the age.
Right.
Yeah, I hear
I
you.
don't think I would ever. I live in Richmond right now, but I don't think I would have ever lived in Richmond if our old landlady didn't have this house and she's like, "Hey, you guys looking for a new house?" And I'm like, "Yeah, this little apartment is hella small."
Yeah.
And I had just had a baby and everything.
Oh,
And I was
perfect
like, yeah. And so like I'd had my baby at this one place, and then we were in a tiny little apartment. But you guys, that apartment was only $600 a month. Tiny little apartment. I saw it on Craigslist, and I was like,
It's
"Listen,
two.
I'm a woman with a real job. I can give you the money right now.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
right now. I'm on my way right now
Yeah.
with money for
Yeah, cash in
this."
hand.
Yeah, and it was a
600?
2-story apartment. It's like it was crazy.
Oh, 2-story apartment.
It was crazy, yeah,
Yeah.
for that price. I was like, "Is this a typo?"
Yeah.
We should have seen it.
Man,
But yeah, then she had this house,